Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Shooting the Breeze. I am none other than your friendly neighborhood soda, as always, joined by my co-pilot, Ben Big Fudge Rainer. How you doing?
Doing good. Really looking forward to talking about this one tonight.
Me as well, but before we get to the topic, we've got two guests with us. Returning once again, John from Movie Lovers Unite, and as also Dagan from the internet, I guess.
From Let's Get Ready Network, actually now.
So. There it is. That's right.
There it is.
I forgot about that. Yes.
Yep.
So, how you guys doing?
I'm doing great, man. Doing really good.
Good, man. Yeah, really looking forward to talking about some of these composers.
Yeah, so there it is. Cat's out of the bag. We're going to be talking our favorite composers this week, and there are plenty to choose from. Right off the bat, who's everybody's favorite composer? Besides John Williams.
Besides John Williams.
Well, I'll go first.
You're going ahead.
I'll say I haven't seen other than John. I will say Hans Zimmer. Well, three actually. Hans Zimmer, Alan Silvestri, and Michael Giacchino.
What about you, Dagan?
Personal favorite of mine is Howard Shore. I'm a big fan of the Lord of the Rings movies, and he's done some other really good work as well. I got him really high on my list. I also have Jerry Goldsmith pretty high on my list as a big Star Trek fan as well. He composed a lot of the scores for those movies. So those are just two names I throw out there off the bat here.
Yeah. What about you, John?
For me, Hans Zimmer. 90s me would go Danny Elfman, and then I would also go with Albert Hitchcock and John Carpenter.
Wow, I'm going to throw one I'm surprised none of you have brought up yet. James Horner.
Oh, yeah, that's the one I couldn't think of.
Horner's a good one. Yep.
James Horner, who unfortunately passed away way too early, but he's got some great scores in there. Some very diverse scores as well. Like he goes across all different spectrums.
I forget, I'm trying to think. Who did the Rocketeer? Was that Horner?
Let's see. I've got his thing right here. Yes, it was. These are some of the movies he's done. Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Star Trek
Classic.
3, The Search for Spock, of course. Cocoon, Aliens, An American Tale, Willow, The Land Before Time, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Field of Dreams, The Rocketeer, American Tale, 5 Goes West, Patriot Games, Hocus Pocus, We're Back, A Dinosaur Story. There's a fun one. The Page Master, Legends of the Fall, Braveheart, Casper, Apollo 13, Jumanji, Courage Under Fire, Titanic, The Mask of Zorro, Mighty Joe Young, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, Beautiful Mind, The Four Feathers. What else? Big ones did he do? Legend of Zorro, Apocalypto, Spiderwick Chronicles. He did Avatar. He did the 2010 Karate Kid, Southpaw. James Horner is someone who's got a lot of great scores, but it seems like he's kind of fallen through the cracks for whatever reason. I think maybe because he did die too early, even though that's quite a filmography.
Yeah.
You could almost argue that his filmography is like equal with somebody like John Williams because of just how many classics he has on that list.
Yeah, it's just the thing that sets those two apart is if I were to whistle a James Horner motif, would you be able to name it? That's the thing. Like none of his scores really pop out. Maybe Titanic.
I'm thinking. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. Go on ahead, Ben.
No, I really think maybe it was so that I can't. Like, I know he's done a lot, but I can't think of what they actually sound like.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like even with Hans Zimmer, think, like he did The Lion King, The Lion King. He did the Dark Knight, the Joker stuff. Bane, all that, and of course John Williams.
All those Nolan movies.
Yeah, same with Alan Silvestri. Like with him, I were to whistle like Back to the Future or The Avengers. You know what it is, but you don't get that with James Horner, which is unfortunate because I think his Titanic score and his Braveheart score are fantastic.
Agreed, because I actually owned the Titanic soundtrack at one point. and everything on that. He doesn't. The thing that I liked about him was he doesn't have like a signature like Hans Zimmer does. Hans Zimmer has this kind of flavor
Zimmer.
where
Zimmer.
Sorry, JTE moment. But when you look at his signature, it starts off with like a slow kind of signature that it's Hans.
Yeah.
When you have James like him, when you have him on the other hand, there's not really a signature. What he does is he amplifies the film according to how the score that he wants to actually do.
Yeah. Braveheart is a great example of that. He knows when to go for sadness. He knows when to go for frustration. Like he knows how to pervade mood perfectly with his score. And the Titanic one, like I have on my iPod or iPhone, I guess, the Titanic Suite, which is just an 18-minute long composition of all the themes from the movie that was released on the Back to Titanic sequel CD. Such a great track. Such a great track if you're into that type of stuff.
I actually own that album too. But yeah, I definitely have to agree that both soundtracks are just equally great. It's hard to actually figure out which one's the best one out of the both of them because they both have that sound, the uniqueness of him and everything, and it's actually hard to top,
and his Mask of Zorro score is underrated.
Yes.
You know what? That is an underrated movie.
Yes, it does, and it still hits.
Yep.
I watched.
You guys are talking about the first one with Antonio.
The first one. The second one's alright, but the first one.
Yeah, the first one's great.
Oh yeah. Oh god, yeah. For a couple years ago, my aunt and uncle were visiting in town, and their preteen age boys wanted to stay with me. So I was like, okay, well, so we popped in movies. First, I showed them Batman and Robin because that's the movie their parents went and saw on their first date. Somehow they managed to be married for over 20 years. But the other one I popped in was Mask of Zorro because I'm like, well, let's watch something you guys have never seen. And they liked that more than Batman. They were all over. That's all they talked about the rest of the time they were here was the Mask of Zorro. I was like, holy shit.
Be honest here. That's
a great movie.
There are two things about that. One, that movie is a lot better than Batman and Robin.
It is, but here's the thing. They really liked Batman and Robin as well.
Okay, that's fair. And two, Zorro, itself, the character, is basically a Batman prototype.
Well, that's where Bob Kane got the name, or the inspiration, and Zorro plays prominently into Batman's origin in the comic books as well.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's interesting. And another one with James Horner for like Titanic. I feel like that soundtrack is really overlooked as well. I mean, it's one that he's known for, sure, but I think it gets a bad rap for having "My Heart Will Go On" there. Like that's what the first thing you think about with music and the Titanic is that Celine Dion thing. So and there's definitely beats of that throughout the movie as well. But overall, I mean, it's pretty epic soundtrack there, or
very epic and
score.
Very Irish.
Yeah.
Well, he was Irish, so it makes sense.
There's another name I wonder for out there real quick. David Newman.
David Newman.
He did the Mighty Ducks movies. He did the Flintstones. He did a lot of one of his biggies. He did Professor.
He made Critters. He did Critters, Vendetta, The Kinder, The Demon Lover, Malone, The Brave Little Toaster, Throw Mama from the Train.
No, that's a great movie.
Yes.
Oh, Galaxy Quest. Galaxy Quest. That's got a pretty good soundtrack. He's done a lot of like family comedies in like the 90s and early 2000s with like Scooby Doo and Daddy Daycare and like Ice Age. A lot of those sort of movies.
He pretty much directed some of my childhood, though. I liked Throw Mama from the Train, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
I just watched Throw Mama from the Train about a month ago. God, that's such a great movie.
It still holds up. I just watched it recently for like the 100th time on, I think Amazon, had it. And I was like, ooh, Throw Mama from the Train. I think I'll watch it.
I never saw that. That's the one with Danny DeVito, right?
Yeah, it's the homage to Hitchcock.
Right.
Yep.
Strangers on a Train. It's almost like a satirical sort of interpretation of that movie.
Pretty much. Similar plot for sure. For sure. Okay, what other composers bring to mind? Like, did you know? Oh God, I just had his name right here. Ramen Jawadi, who everybody knows as Game of Thrones, but did you know he did the Iron Man score?
Really, I had no idea.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's actually done. Yeah, he's done several movie scores. Let's see what I can bring up here. List of works. He's done a lot of works. Yeah, he did Iron Man, Prison Break. He did Game of Thrones, obviously, Pacific Rim, Warcraft, Westworld. Well, that's also TV shows, but he did K9 the Widowmaker. What else did he get? Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, the first one, which is pretty cool.
Classic score with that. Yeah.
Such great. That's actually a good good soundtrack to play D&D with too.
Definitely. Pirates.
Pirates. He did additional music for Batman Begins. He did Open Season, Deception, Iron Man, which I already talked about, Clash of the Titans, the Fright Night remake, Wrinkle in Time. Yeah, he's done some pretty big ones himself in the film, but everybody of course knows him as the Game of Thrones guy.
Right. Yeah, it's that sort of like epic, sort of sprawling, sort of theme. I think that he usually has.
Yeah,
but that's not a name you would normally say. But then there's a lot of like heavy hitters on that list
for sure, and that's a name that's really hard to say as well.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Well.
See.
Well, we talked a little bit about Hans Zimmer. That's another pretty big name that I think should definitely be sort of talked about. The Dark Knight trilogy, I think, and like a lot of those Nolan movies. Mm-hmm. Inception is another one. Very distinct sort of sound. That sort of like very like big sort of sort of build up kind of thing that he does. I really like. I like the joke in the honest trailers for what was the one where they're in outer space with Matthew McConaughey? Help me out here.
Interstellar.
Interstellar. That Hans Zimmer fell asleep on his synthesizer because there's some moments of that movie where it's just like for like 2 minutes straight. But yeah, that's another one that I would bring up, and specifically the Nolan movies that he's done the soundtracks for.
Well, yeah. I've got his list here. Like he did Rain Man. He did Days of Thunder with Tom Cruise. He did Backdraft. He did Thelma and Louise. He did personal favorite of mine, A League of Their Own. He did True Romance. He did The Lion King, Crimson Tide, 9 Months, Broken Arrow, Muppet Treasure Island. Whoa,
that's
interesting.
Oh, yeah. The Rock, as good as it gets. The Prince of Egypt, The Thin Red Line, Mission Impossible 2, Gladiator, Black Hawk Down, Pearl Harbor, which I know everyone shits on the movie, but that score is very underrated. Invincible, Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron, which seems to be coming up a lot lately. Spanglish, King Arthur, another underrated movie. And then, of course, Batman Begins and all that stuff. Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest, Da Vinci's Code, Simpsons movie. Like, yeah, he's done a lot of big stuff. He's got to be number 2 behind John Williams for best all time.
Agreed. My favorite score, though, that he's done is Time with Inception, the movie Inception.
Oh, yeah.
Time is my favorite score. Also, too, underneath that is the Batman The Dark Knight score and everything, too.
The only one I have on my phone from him is the track Flight from the Man of Steel soundtrack.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. I love that one, too.
Yeah. And he also did Blade Runner 2049.
Oh, yeah. That's another good one. What about the Prestige? Is that on there as well?
Prestige.
Because I think he's done most of Nolan's movies.
It doesn't look like it, no.
Huh. Interesting.
I don't have it. It's not on here. But he did do Transformers Rise of the Fallen uncredited.
We don't need to talk about that one.
Oh yeah, and I want to throw this one out. He also co-composed with somebody this track, the score for Megamind.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
But Danny Elfman is actually one of my other favorite ones from the 90s. He did Edward Scissorhands. He's also done Men in Black. He's done
Batman and Batman
The
Returns.
Frighteners. The Frighteners is also. Yep.
Huh.
And I didn't know that until I started watching The Frighteners. I'm like, this score feels like a Danny Elfman kind of score. And next thing I knew it, I Googled it, and it happened to be it was actually Danny Elfman that composed it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did that. He did Edward Scissorhands. Pretty much anything that Tim Burton did, Danny Elfman would actually help with it.
Yeah, he also did Scrooged,
Yep.
Dick Tracy. He did Darkman, Nightmare Before Christmas, Black Beauty, To Die For, the first Mission Impossible, Mars Attacks, Men in Black, Flubber, Good Will Hunting, Sleepy Hollow, The Family Man, Spider-Man, of course, Men in Black 2, Chicago, Hulk.
Wow, Chicago?
Yeah, the Ang Lee Hulk. Corpse Bride, Meet the Robinsons, Hellboy 2, Terminator Salvation, Alice in Wonderland, which is a horrible movie, Silver Linings Playbook, Hey Brandy, Oz, The Great and Powerful, American Hustle, Goosebumps, Justice League, which was awesome, 50 Shades Freed, and 50 Shades of Grey.
What?
He did the 50 Shades trilogy.
Okay.
He must have needed a good paycheck. For
I guess somebody had to do that one. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, upcoming, he's got Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. That's his next big one.
Okay. Tell me, who is this?
Danny Elfman.
Okay. Did you do the first Doctor Strange?
No.
That was Silvestri, right?
Hold on. Doctor Strange composer. Keep talking. Dead air is always fun.
Well, I only bring it up because if you listen
Michael Giacchino.
What?
Michael Giacchino.
Okay, if you listen to if you listen to the 2009 Star Trek and Doctor Strange score, they're the same.
That's because it's the same composer.
No,
You just didn't realize who did the composing? Yeah.
No, I forgot who did both of them. But the sound was in the same score.
You're saying the score is literally exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's pretty. It's very Williams-esque in that, because what John Williams is known for that as well. Like if you listen to Marion's theme from Raiders of the Lost Ark, and you listen to Leia's theme, same chord progression.
Mm-hmm.
It's identical, or like almost identical.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, talking about Williams, I guess Superman and Indiana Jones kind of sound like each other a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely a similar jumps there. But Michael Giacchino, he's I'd say he's going to take the mantle when John Williams passes away.
I can see that.
Yeah, I wonder how old he is. That's interesting.
He's like 50, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, John Williams unfortunately is like nearly 90 years old at this point.
53,
right?
Yeah, and like this is a list.
I mean,
of
somebody's.
Sorry.
No, I was just saying that. Yeah, the torch can be passed because John Williams is nearly 90 years old, and Michael Giacchino is only like 50.
Yeah, and like look at the movies he's already scored since he's into the business. The Incredibles, Mission Impossible 3, Ratatouille, Cloverfield, Speed Racer, Star Trek. Those were all in his first couple years. Up, Land of the Lost, Cars 2, Super 8, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, John Carter, Star Trek Into Darkness, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Personal favorite of mine, This Is Where I Leave You, Jupiter Ascending, Jurassic World, Inside Out, Zootopia, Star Trek Beyond, Doctor Strange, and Rogue One in the same year. Spider-Man Homecoming, War of the Planet of the Apes, Coco, Incredibles 2, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, Bad Times at El Royale, Spider-Man Far From Home, Jojo Rabbit, American Pickle, Spider-Man No Way Home, The Batman coming up, and Jurassic Park Dominion. This guy is busy.
Wow. Yeah. And not only that, but he does like Yeah, he does like 3 or 4 blockbusters a year, like massive blockbusters.
In 2017, he did a Marvel movie, he did a Planet of the Apes movie, and he did a Pixar movie. That all came out in 2017. In 2016, he did this is 2016. Zootopia, Star Trek Beyond, Doctor Strange, and Rogue One. That's in 1 year.
Wow,
that's a crazy year.
Yeah, and Rogue One he did in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And that was coming off the previous year where he did like Jurassic World, Tomorrowland,
Inside Out.
Yeah, it's just
spending. Yeah.
Yeah, those massive, big studio blockbusters. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and he's even done video game scores too.
He's done TV too. I realized who he was when he did the music to Lost.
Yeah.
And that's probably my favorite piece of music he's done.
Yeah, he did Alias and Lost.
He's clearly buddies with J.J. Abrams. I mean, that's like just the guy, his go-to guy. Yeah.
Well, when you think about it, Sean Williams has a couple go-to guys. So,
Right,
I mean...
Spielberg being number one.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think about...
And it's like same with Elfman and
Burton.
Elfman and Burton, and I was also going to say Elfman and Raimi too. There's also a pairing there too. He's done several Raimi films.
Okay. I'll look it up later. Yeah, I mean, I think my favorite Elfman is the 89 Batman.
Of course. It's one of his most iconic.
To be honest, I know this might be sacrilegious. I don't know what I like more, Batman or Sean Williams Superman.
Oh, that's whatever. They're both great. Me personally, I think my personal favorite John Williams score is Superman the movie. I think it's the best one he's ever done. But I wouldn't argue against people saying Elfman's score is better. Like, it's just as good.
Right.
Some of my favorite Williams music is some of his underrated stuff.
Oh, yeah?
Like Hook. I love his Hook. Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Yep. Did he do Apollo 15?
No, that was Zimmer. I think I just said that earlier.
Oh. Okay. My bad.
So I've actually had the pleasure of playing quite a bit of his scores, but compositions. Okay, so he started all the way back in the 50s. But yeah, so he has done the Poseidon Adventure, Sugarland Express, which was his first Spielberg movie, Towering Inferno, of course, Jaws, of course, Star Wars, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Superman, of course, 1941, another Spielberg film. He's done all the Star Wars ones. He's done all the Indiana Jones ones. He did E.T., which is not my favorite movie, but the score is impeccable. He's
Jurassic Park.
Yes, Jurassic Park, of course. The Accidental Tourist, Born on the 4th of July, Home Alone, as Ben said, Hook, JFK, Far and Away, Jurassic Park, Schindler's List, Sabrina, Saving Private Ryan, Patriot, which is a great score, AI, Artificial Intelligence, Minority Report, Catch Me If You Can, War of the Worlds, Memoirs of a Geisha, which is it kind of sticks out a little bit, The Adventures of Tintin, Lincoln, the BFG, Joe Satriani he's a guitar player, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a guitar legend.
Yeah.
A lot of like jazz fusion kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Joe Satriani, but yeah. I know who Joe Satriani is. I didn't know he was a composer. Huh.
Yeah, he's done some composing.
What movies did he compose?
Good question. To look it up.
I am.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose John Williams was going to come up one way or another on this show.
Yeah, the Super Mario Brothers.
It's like you can't do a show without Dr. Greenham. Yeah.
Yep. Say anything. Moneyball.
Yeah. So So, what is the connection again with Joe Satriani and John Williams? Did we say?
None. This popped up in the comments. What the hell? Okay. It is.
Sorry, guys. Am I having internet? Is my internet having issues? Am I cutting out? Okay, I will log off and come back in. All right.
Okay. But we've got to pay love to Alan Silvestri as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like that guy also has iconic pieces of music.
What would you think his most iconic is?
It's Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Yep. Wouldn't you say second place would be Forrest Gump because of how iconic the soundtrack is?
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, he also did Young Guns 2. He did Father the Bride. Love that movie. Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. Super Mario Brothers. Grumpy Old Man. Forrest Gump. Quick and the Dead. He did Judge Dredd. He did
Ready Player One.
Castaway.
Okay, yeah, he did Castaway, What Lies Beneath, What Women Want, The Mummy Returns. Although he didn't do the first one. Lilo and Stitch. He also did Van Helsing, Night at the Museum, the G.I. Joe movies, Christmas Carol, and of course, now he's mostly associated with the MCU because he did Captain America, the First Avenger. He did Infinity War. He did Endgame. Yeah.
It's tough to go against Silvestri with the classic Back to the Future score.
Yeah. That's the one where he's going to be most recognized. When he passes away, that's going to be the one that everyone's going to...
That's top 5 best scores of all time for me. Shout out to the boat, Brad Gilmore.
Yeah. that theme song is got to be top 5 most all time iconic theme songs.
Yeah, except for Star Wars and Indiana Jones. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And everything. It has great pop-up music. It has great dramatic music. It's fun. It's funny.
Yeah.
Everything you want in a score. Back to the Future hat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He also did Predator.
Yep.
Who did the first Alien? Do we know? Anything that?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Let me look it up.
ITV, folks, ain't it great?
Yeah, this is some great radio we got going on here.
Terry Goldsmith and Lionel Newman.
Yeah, see, I knew it was a familiar name that did it. And yeah, you guys brought up one of you guys brought up Jerry Goldsmith earlier. Like that guy did some big movies back in the day. Oh, now IMDb acts slow, bastard.
Bill Conti is also another one.
Yes, Rocky, The Karate Kid.
Yep. The Right Stuff.
Yeah.
You got Slow Dancing. For Your Eyes Only. 007.
Nice.
You've got Harry and Tonto. Then, of course, 8 Seconds. Lean on Me. Masters of the Universe. Gotcha was another one that he did. Spy Hard, Mr. Mom, Looney Tunes, Back in Action, and Wrongfully Accused with Leslie Nielsen. Necessary Roughness.
Oh God, that's
that movie. Wrongfully Accused.
It wasn't the best. I'm looking at Jerry Goldsmith's the filmography. Holy shit!
Yeah.
Holy shit, that's big.
Bigger than Williams?
Way bigger than Williams.
Really?
Way bigger. Yeah.
Wow.
This is the 1980s alone. Omen 3, Poltergeist, Secret of Nim, First Blood, Psycho 2, Twilight Zone the movie, Gremlins, Supergirl, Rambo First Blood Part 2, Legend, the European version, Poltergeist 2, Star Trek The Next Generation theme song, Inner Space, Lionheart, Rent-A-Cop, Rambo 3, The Burbs, and Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. That's the 1980s. The 1990s, you've got Total Recall, Gremlins 2, Sleeping with the Enemy, Medicine Man, Mr. Baseball, Super Mario Brothers, which was actually rejected. They list his rejected stuff on here. Dennis the Menace. He did Rudy. He did Matinee. He did Bad Girls. He did The Shadow. He did Congo. He did Powder. He did the Star Trek movies during that time. He did Ghost of the Darkness, Air Force One, U.S. Marshals, Mulan, The Mummy, the first one, The 13th Warrior. Like, he's done a lot of scores.
He's also was the one that composed the score for the Star Trek, The Next Generation.
Yeah, he composed
so
the theme,
that was like a big deal because like that's something you get royalties on right there.
For sure, and that's an iconic one. For sure. Yeah, he also did Star Trek: The Motion Picture as well.
Wow. Yeah. So I mean that he was like the Star Trek guy that I was most familiar with.
Yeah. And of course, Alien, and for me, First Blood. The title track, It's a Long Road. Oh, great theme song.
Yeah, definitely a legend there with Jerry Goldsmith for sure.
Yeah, may he rest in peace because he died a long time ago.
Yeah.
When did he die?
05.
Okay.
Sorry,
also
75 years old.
Wow.
There's also Randy Eldman too. He did the composing for Last of the Mohicans, Kindergarten Cop, Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, Triple X, Shanghai Noon, Whole 9 Yards, Ghostbusters 2, Angels in the Outfield, The Mask, Billy Madison, Anaconda, Shanghai Nights, Drop Dead Fred, My Cousin Vinny. So
that's pretty good set of movies right there. Now here's one that you guys, I don't know if you know the name, but you'll know the music. You know the name Henry? Was it? Hold on, I just had it. Henry Mancini.
Yes, sounds familiar. At least, yeah.
Yeah.
Dun 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 dun
The Pink Panther.
Yeah, the Pink Panther. That's an iconic theme. That's an iconic score.
Now, here's a movie that we talk about the soundtrack a lot, but we don't talk about the score a lot. Guardians of the Galaxy, composed by Tyler Bates.
Yes.
Tyler Bates. Yes.
Tyler Bates.
Not Tyler Bate, the wrestler, but Tyler Bates.
Yeah. No kidding.
Now, somebody still don't know wrestling talk.
Oh.
That's a different show.
Challenge accepted. I'm kidding. Sorry, I'm just looking at Henry Mancini's soundtrack now. He did Breakfast at Tiffany's. I did not know that.
Wow.
And Creature from the Black Lagoon.
I mean, if we're going that far back, we got to mention John Carpenter. I mean, a guy that's known for being a director, but also a masterful composer, especially for some of those horror movies like Halloween. You know, we were talking a little bit about horror before the show, and yeah, John Carpenter is like the horror guy when it comes to composers, I think.
He made, I think, his Halloween score is so iconic, so creepy, yet so simple at the same time.
Right.
It's really amazing what he did with just a few notes on the piano.
Mm-hmm. And
it's only a few notes. Yeah, it's so unbelievable how simple it can be, but also how iconic, as you were saying, Ben.
Right. Especially for They Live, he did a great job with that one, and then also too, Christine was also another one he did that was one of my favorites, and then Vampires.
I'm trying to go in my head. I think he did the Halloween in 7/8 time, which is not that. It's not hard, but it's not that easy. That's
it's like 1,
2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, it's 7/8 time.
Yeah.
Sorry, musicians here.
Yeah. I'm a drummer myself, so yeah, nerd out about it.
Yeah, sax player as my thing says. But yeah, composer, like he's composed a lot of his own movies. Like he did Halloween, Assault on Precinct 13, The Fog, Escape from New York, Halloween 2, Christine, as you guys said earlier, Big Trouble in Little China, Prince of Darkness, They Live, Village of the Damned, Vampires. Yeah, and of course he's credited for the new Halloweens, of course.
That's one way to save money on your project is compose your own stuff because
and he became a touring musician as well.
Right. Because to get like a lesser known composer, it costs $25,000 to get a independent composer.
Yeah.
So you're paying less by doing your own and everything.
Yeah. And I gotta bring this one up from Brian Newsbaum because he is right. Alan Menken, he should be mentioned in the greats. He really should.
He's a Nicky guy, right?
Yes. Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was also mentioned the Schumann brothers, right?
Yes, the original Disney guys who did Mary Poppins and The Jungle Book and all those classics. And if you guys want to watch a great documentary of them, it's called The Boys. It's on Disney Plus. It is basically a career retrospective of them and the turmoil that was actually going on behind the scenes that nobody knew about. Highly recommend that documentary.
Who put them in the movie? It was BJ Novak and
Jason Schwartzman.
Right. Yeah, they were good at that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, while we're on the topic of like directors or somebody that writes their own music for their own movies, and we're taking it way back to like even pre-Disney, as we kind of just said, those iconic original Disney movie cartoons. Another name that I have on my list that you might not, a lot of people might not think of, is again taking things way back to the early years of film. Charlie Chaplin is somebody that I think we have to mention because he's like the guy that like kind of started it all as John was just saying about the composers that write their own scores. I mean, he what an absolute genius that guy was.
A lot of those scores that he wrote for his movies, he did later on when they reissued the films. Like he didn't do a lot of the original scores at the time, but he has a song that is still very much prominent out there. He wrote the music for the song "Smile." The lyrics were added like years later, but he wrote "Smile." Smile if your heart is breaking, smile even though it's aching. Yeah, that's Charlie Chaplin. That is from Modern Times, one of his classic films.
Yeah, he was great, and a lot like Modern Times is one where he does the whole like song and dance routine.
Yeah,
like he does this routine in Italian, I think
it's gibberish. It's gibberish.
Oh, you're right. It's just totally made up. It kind of sounds like Italian, but it's just
that's how good he was. He was able to gibberish, but he was able to make it sound like a language you know.
Yeah. I mean, what a guy! Just like overall, man, what a career! Like, I don't think a lot of people give him the credit that's really deserved because, like, if it wasn't for Charlie Chaplin, it would be for a lot of these movies that we have nowadays. So
100%, I liken it to Prince in a way because Prince, Prince is the best, but a lot of people forget he's one of the greatest guitar players to ever live. Listen to Prince play guitar, man. It's same with Chaplin. Like Chaplin is one of my all-time film heroes. Everyone knows him from his movies, but people don't realize that yes, he did his own scores.
Yeah, he's amazing. I highly recommend if you haven't seen any Charlie Chaplin to watch Modern Times, The Great Dictator, The Gold Rush,
City Lights.
Yeah.
And actually, after I watched it, it became my personal favorite, The Circus.
Yeah,
it's all silent, but it's easy to follow what's going on. The physical acting they do in that movie is just another level.
Forgive me. They might sound ignorant. Did he do any talking movies?
Yes. So Modern Times was half and half.
Okay.
So you had like the head of the company when he appeared on the screen, he sound. You had the gibberish that we were just talking about in Modern Times. City Lights as well. Kind of a little bit. He started introducing like just random sounds into his movies. It wasn't until he did The Great Dictator where that was his first completely 100% sound film.
Didn't the Gold Rush have some talking in it as well?
Well, not the original. That was the 1942.
Oh, this is the dub. Yes, right.
Yeah,
okay.
And I have the criteria. What's funny is it's very hard to get an original print of the 1925 version, but they managed to cobble one together in a really good quality of it on the Criterion Collection Blu-ray.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So look into that.
It's a good Blu-ray. I got it.
Yeah, I mean he was known for sort of like movies that didn't have necessarily talking in them, but later in his career, there were some pretty big ones there.
There's like Limelight is
Limelight.
such a beautiful movie.
Oof.
Such a beautiful movie. Another one he did the score on. Yeah. It's a movie about basically about old vaudeville clown who takes a young ingenue under his wing, and it's basically their friendship relationship, and he even throws a bone and has Buster Keaton with him in a scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm just glad nobody has gone and tried to attempt to remake any of his movies, because you just can't. You can't do them justice. It's like trying to remake Wizard of Oz or Gone with the Wind or like Citizen Kane or any of these kinds of movies. You just can't really touch them.
Because they're
such classics.
So ingrained with the Tramp. You can't.
Yeah, I mean, but to be honest, you have guys like I would say like Taika Waititi very much reminds me of like almost a modern day Chaplin a lot of the times. Just his style of filmmaking, the satirical sort of element that he throws in there, and the fact that he does everything, like he writes, he directs. I don't know if he's involved with the scores at all, Taika, but I don't know. I just feel like sort of like genius level filmmaking. That's all. I mean, and it's not just Taika. You could say that about so many modern day filmmakers, that there's like an influence of Chaplin in there.
It's a lot of directors and whatnot may not know it, but you can see Charlie Chaplin's handprints all over them.
Yeah.
Elmer Bergstein is also another one that's on my list.
Elmer Bergstein, yes.
Because you actually have True Grit with John Wayne. You also have The Age of Innocence. You also have The Three Amigos.
Mm-hmm.
Then, if you scroll down a little bit into his career, it's actually Animal House, Trading Places,
Animal House.
Stripes.
Nice.
Then you also have Wild Wild West, which we're not going to talk about that one. Ghostbusters, and he has a pretty decent filmography.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you guys a question. You're going to see a movie. Most are excellent. What do you prefer? A good score or an excellent soundtrack?
All depends on the movie, really.
Good question. Yeah. I think it depends on the movie, and I also think I would prefer a healthy balance of both.
Mm-hmm.
Same.
Which you do, trying to think of examples of that. Guardians, I would say, is actually a great example of that.
Anything by Tarantino.
Yeah, anything by Tarantino. It really depends on the movie. Like, if you're going and you're watching, like, I don't know, a movie that takes place in the 1990s, I would expect to hear a great soundtrack. Whereas if you're watching a movie that is supposed to be like a blockbuster, big, epic, I would expect a great score from that. With
like a few maybe songs thrown in there as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, even something like Endgame had it started with Dear Mr. Fantasy, by Traffic. So
yeah.
But there's also this amazing Alan Silvestri score. So.
Mm-hmm.
What's another good one? Deadpool.
Deadpool's a good one. Yep.
Who did that one?
Well,
Junkie XL though.
Oh
yeah. So there you go. That's a good name to throw out there as somebody that probably has the score and then a healthy mix of the score and other songs as well. I think Junkie XL's scores blend really well with other songs or other soundtracks selections that are thrown in there. I think he's very, very well able to follow some of those beats from some of the songs.
Yeah. Another one that, people mostly know him for the music, like the songs that he composes for his movies, but Randy Newman.
Yes.
Yeah. Toy Story being
Toy Story,
the
Natural, which is my personal favorite score. The Natural score is amazing. Parenthood, Awakenings, Maverick, Toy Story, James and the Giant Peach, Bug's Life, Toy Story 2, Meet the Parents, Monsters, Inc., Meet the Fockers, Seabiscuit, Cars, Princess and the Frog, Toy Story 3, Monsters University, Cars 3, Toy Story 4, and he did Marriage Story as well.
Wow.
Yeah, like you said, he's mostly known for his novelty songs, and of course, You Got a Friend in Me and stuff. But he's also a pretty good composer.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's somebody you would kind of only think of being Randy Newman and writing those hits, but he's done a lot of good stuff with film as well.
Yeah, and I highly encourage people to go listen to the Natural score. Like it's one when you hear it, you're like, oh, I know this one, because you hear it quite a bit more than you think.
That's cool. I will throw out another name that I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, and that's Howard Shore, who I guess is like pretty much the most recognizable one being the Lord of the Rings movies. Yeah, of course. But he does have some other stuff under the belt. He's got a lot of like uncredited appearances as like a conductor or an orchestrator. Yeah. Like in Mrs. Doubtfire, he's credited as the orchestrator and not necessarily the composer. So there you go, Schmodown, if you want to throw out a challenge. Sounds of the Lambs is another one in that same role. Ed Wood, Philadelphia, he is credited as the conductor for that. So
Philadelphia, I didn't know he did that score. That's a great score.
Yep. Copland, he's got on there. Dogma.
Yes, that one I knew. Yes.
So he's worked with Kevin Smith before.
Yeah.
High Fidelity is another one. That's another one I think I would throw out there. A very nice mix of score and soundtrack.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the big one, Lord of the Rings, that everybody sort of recognizes. Dun, 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 and then there's so many other great, like just that epic sort of sprawl. And there were some other ones around that same era or that same time period in the mid 2000s that he did, like The Aviator, I think has another pretty epic score, and A History of Violence. So there you go. I mean, this guy I think has more credits that you realize. But
did you say Silence of the Lambs?
I did say Silence of the Lambs. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I must have missed that one. Yeah. No. But he's also one where. Outside of Lord of the Rings, I don't think if you would hum anything of his and people would know.
Right.
But Gangs of New York, I love Gangs of New York, but that's
great.
Yeah. Great score. That one's also got a great U2 song that came from that soundtrack. Hands That Built America.
There's also No, go on ahead, man.
I was going to say my favorite Howard Shore thing on Lord of the Rings is their Shire music.
Shire music with that like really awesome flute kind of thing going on. It's again similar to like Titanic, very Irish inspired. I would say.
My favorite thing about Howard Shore is Canadian. Toronto.
Nice.
So I got one sort of obscure one I'll throw at you guys, and that's kind of like what I got for my list here, total. But if we're talking about sort of ones you wouldn't think about, there's the movie with Johnny Depp called Dead Man. It's out there. It's got a soundtrack that's just Neil Young and his electric guitar. There's no other like instruments involved. Dead Man with Johnny Depp.
Oh yeah.
Very like weird, dark sort of.
Well, it's a Jim Jarmusch movie. Are you surprised?
Yeah, right. It's like almost a Western noir. I think I would probably categorize as that.
And quite the cast. Holy shit.
Yeah, and it's one that not a lot of people talk about, but it's got this just freaking awesome Neil Young soundtrack that like if you want to get super, I can say it here, it's legal here. If you want to get super stoned and like put it on and just sit back and relax, it's one of those that just really put you in the zone. So
look at listen to the cast of this movie. You got Johnny Depp, Crispin Glover, Lance Henriksen, John Hurt, Robert Mitchum, Iggy Pop, Gabriel Byrne, Jared Harris. Holy shit, Billy Bob Thornton. Yep. Not a lot of like female talent in there, but it's that was the era. I've never seen the movie, but I do remember the cover. Like I do remember the poster because I kept seeing it when I was a kid in the movie store, and it struck me as very weird.
It's very weird. It's very messed up. There's some weird like shit in there, like cannibalism, but it's very good. and it's get that sort of Western, that sort of, as we're saying, Western noir sort of vibe to it.
And I want to piggyback off of Dagan bringing up Neil Young's score for that. We can't not talk about Trent Reznor.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like,
John, what do you think about that?
I love Trent Rinser, to be honest with you, as a composer, as Nine Inch Nails fan, and also too, my favorite thing that he composed recently was Soul. Then also too,
wait, he did Soul, the Disney movie?
Yep.
Yes, he did.
Damn.
And I also like the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo score that he did.
Yeah.
And everything. That was actually one of my favorite ones because I felt like the music matched with the scenery and everything, especially the one with the clock. Mm-hmm. There's a scene with the clock, and in the score, there's actually a little sound effect to go with the clock that's in the scene, which I felt that added into that extra layer into that film that I really appreciate that Trent threw at us.
Yeah.
But Trent is definitely a great composer and everything. I'm a huge Nine Inch Nails fan, and I'm also a huge Trent Reznor fan, especially with Soul. Soul was one of those things that just moved me in a certain way last year during the pandemic, and just had that hit with me.
Yeah, no, that's that just brings my appreciation for that movie up to a whole new level. He also did the entire Watchmen miniseries. And let's not forget his first film score, The Social Network.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, what really makes a great composer, I would think, is, or one of the big aspects of it, I think, is being able to get emotion out of your listener, your viewer, just by listening to the score. You know what I mean? If that kind of listen to, and it shows the power of music too, Blake. But yeah, what you were sort of saying there about Reznor's score with Soul, like that just the soundtrack or the score on its own makes you feel emotion. I think like it
amplifies really, it even more.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And we cannot talk about famous composers. We're probably about I'd say the granddaddy of them all, or the Godfather, Ennio Morricone.
Yes.
Wah, wah, wah. Like,
thank you. I was trying to think of his name. I couldn't place it.
Yeah, that guy, man, he's got quite the distinguished career. Finally winning his first Oscar towards the end of it for The Hateful Eight. To think he never won for Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, like that's just highway robbery.
What a shame.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sean, do you have anything to say?
No, that's to be honest with you, I got to get up at 5 in the morning and everything. So I just wanted to be able to spend some time with you guys and everything, talk about some composers and stuff like that. I had a good time being on here, as I always do with Shooting the Breeze.
Yes.
So I just want to say I appreciate you guys a lot.
It's almost at the hour
Thanks,
mark.
John.
I think it's a great time to actually just wrap it up on that. I mean, there are plenty more composers we could talk about, but unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time here. Thank you guys very much for joining us. Talking with you guys is always fun, and I didn't know that about you, Dagan. I didn't know you were a musician. That's actually pretty cool to hear.
Yeah. This is, I've my playing drums and being in a band was like my main profession. And it wasn't until just recently with, the pandemic and everything that I've had a background in radio as well. So that's what led me to doing all these podcasts and Schmodown stuff and everything.
A lot of sense.
But yeah, that's definitely, so now it's sort of podcasting full time and music on the back burner as everything kind of goes back to normal. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of not a lot of music venues open or concerts really happening on that sort of level yet. So yeah, but it is definitely that was one of the main reasons that I wanted to do the show, is because I'm a big music guy and I love talking music and composers and everything just as much as I love talking about wrestling or Schmodown or whatever else it may be. So
you and me, we have a lot more in common than I realized. We have a lot in common because we both love music, we both love wrestling, we both all love that stuff. Like you come from more of a rock and roll background. Me, I come more from the orchestral band background because I'm a sax player and I played in orchestra pits before. I mostly come from that area.
Nice.
Yeah. That's how I was able to do the 7/8 time earlier.
And we're both on the upper northeast part of the continent as well. So
that is right.
You're up there in Canada. I'm in Vermont, so
yeah,
we're relatively close.
Yeah. Man, if only I had confidence to actually just improvise, I'd say we should jam if we ever meet. But yeah,
right. Well, maybe I'll hire you to play saxophone for a Pink Floyd tribute or something.
Ooh.
Or recently, it's like the Stones. You do some good like Bobby Keys.
Rest in peace, Charlie Watts.
Absolutely. I will, if you don't mind, Ben, I'd like to dedicate this entire episode to Mr. Charlie Watts, because that was a big loss for us in the music community, and just like a huge nobody better to get behind the kit. And not opinion.
Just that, part of one of the most badass stories I've ever heard. Mick Jagger, Keith Richards drinking one night. Keith Richards picks up the phone, calls Charlie. When Charlie answers, you hear Mick in the background going, "Where's my drummer?" As soon as the phone was over, Charlie Watts took a shower, cleaned himself up, put him in his nice suit, went up to the room, knocked on the door. When Keith Richards opened up, walked right by him, grabbed Mick by the scruff of the neck, punched him out, and said, "I'm not your drummer, you're my singer," and left.
I think he used a vulgar term as well. "I'm not your effing singer."
Yeah.
I'm not your effing drummer.
You're my effing singer. Yeah. I was like, okay, badass.
That's pretty cool.
I like that. What a way to end this on.
All right. So, okay, guys. So, John, where can everybody find you?
You guys can go on ahead and find me on Movie Lovers Unite on Facebook, at Movie Lovers TV Lovers Unite on Facebook, and on Instagram, and on Pinterest underneath the same brand name. Of course, we're also doing a Cincy thing with Two Blur Girls podcast and everything. We're actually donating to St. Jude's Children's Hospital, so you guys can go on ahead, get yourself a Cincy. All the proceeds go over to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. We just dropped a Neighbors Watching trailer reaction video today for our trailer reaction for The Kingsman. So go on ahead, check that out on our YouTube channel at Movie Lovers Unite. Of course, you can get an audio-only podcast episode of many episodes that we do here at Movie Lovers Unite as well, where you guys get your podcast from. But Good Pods is actually the best place that you can go ahead and rate us and everything and tell us what you think about it if you're listening to podcasts, or if you just happen to be someone that does podcasting yourself. So I strongly recommend Good Pods. And also, too, go on ahead and head over to Twitter at Movie Lovers Unit. Follow me over there. If you're a sponsor would like to get in touch with me, just go on ahead.
I'll never not laugh at that.
What?
I'll never not laugh at that.
Right, exactly. I need to tweet to them and say, "Hey, look, can you give me an E at the end of that? Because I don't want to
laughing too hard at this."
This is probably why I don't get a sponsor that much. Unit, I don't. You can follow me at the Unit. But no, you can follow me at Movie Lovers Unit on Twitter. Of course, if you're a sponsor and would like to get in touch with us, just go on ahead, email me at movieloversunite@gmail.com. And then, of course, you guys can go on ahead, like I mentioned before. We're going to be doing a bunch of other stuff coming up in September. I can't wait to announce that later on. But I have some big news coming up for next month that I'm going to have to reserve myself for, just in case it doesn't fall through or whatever. But, you know, that's everything that you guys need to know about me at Movie Lovers Unite. So go on ahead. I got it.
All right. And Dagan, what about you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at DaganSB. That's at DAGANSB. And you can also find me over on the Let's Get Ready Network. Me and Corey Cameron on Any Given Schmo Day this Sunday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, twitch.tv/LGR Network. We got Chandra the Chosen on there, so that's going to be a fun time talking with him. He's had an eventful last few weeks here, so it's gonna be fun to sort of chat with him about everything.
You're just hoping you get some gold out of that interview, like we did last year.
Yeah, exactly. So definitely looking forward to that show, and we also just started up doing some wrestling talk over on Let's Get Ready Network as well. Me and Justin Hambone are doing post-show AEWs at 11 p.m. Eastern. On twitch.tv/LGR Network as well, where we're going to just run down through the Dynamite episodes after they air, like about an hour after they air every Wednesday. And then there's going to be another wrestling show that we're going to start up on Saturdays as well, where we talk about Rampage and we talk about the news and other sort of wrestling stuff that's been going on. And we're probably going to have some special guests rotating in and out of that as well. So probably get Soda on there and whoever else wants to join us. So that's what we got going on right now.
If you start a wrestling show on Wednesdays, I will choke slam your ass through the ring. Okay, that's my night.
I'll sell it like Shawn Michaels.
Exactly. Yeah, which we actually just talked about that match this week because we were doing SummerSlam 01 to 2010, so we covered that match, of course.
Nice.
And we'll have to have you on for sure in a couple weeks. All right, Ben, what about you?
You guys can find me everywhere on this channel, every Saturday on Get Ready on Mount Smalldown, where normally we talk about players' career, but this summer we're talking about the factions of the Smalldown. And this week we're doing something special. We're having the dead mother herself, Kate, on to talk about the dead this week. So that's going to be fun. Come check that out. Or you'll find me on Recapping the Past and right here on Shooting the Breeze.
And as for myself, you can find me on my Instagram and Twitter at soda_the_saxman. You can also find me on every goddamn show on this channel. And other than that, you can find me competing just for fun in the Outlaw Nation Patreon Trivia League, where I just went up against Sean Wingblade for the inaugural IG title match. Won't say how it went, but it was an interesting match.
I also competed.
Yep, Ben started playing in there. We got our friend 50 Kids a Geek from this. We actually have our own faction now called the Sweaty Boys. Yes. So yeah, definitely if you're part of that Patreon, go check that stuff out. So on behalf of myself, Ben, John, and Dagan, thank you very much for joining us. We will see you next week on Shooting the Breeze. And don't forget, everyone, you stay sweaty. See ya.